people decided to drive and park wherever they wanted. Like, no, I told you to go over there where the sign is, and you want to go halfway across the parking lot. I'm not going to chase you for it. Hey everybody, it is Yamathon, also known as Maya. Today we are going to be doing a kind of like a get ready with me type of video, but I'm also going to be talking about why I quit my previous job. So if you are interested in hearing why I quit my previous job, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let's just get straight into the video. So for everyone who doesn't already know, my very first job was at McDonald's. I got the job and at first I loved it. Most of the people who got hired around the same time as me, they were around my age range, and everyone there was nice. And overall it was like a really good job to start off with. So first I'll kind of talk about some crazy customer stories, and then I'll start talking about why I quit. So if you have ever worked customer service, you know customers can be extremely difficult, and at McDonald's it's even worse because people get hangry. They get so hangry and they'll give you attitude. So the first story, there was this guy, I was serving him whatever, and he wanted to customize his burger. Now, first of all, this guy wanted way too many customization. This guy was just like extra lettuce, extra cheese, extra tomato. I swear this guy wanted like 25% more sugar in his ketchup for all I know. So I wrote down all these customizations for him and I sent it to the kitchen. And about 2 minutes later, they gave me the burger and the rest of his order, and I gave it to him. A minute later, he came back and said, my order is wrong. And he was pretty polite about it, you know, there was like a bit of attitude, but I was just like, whatever. So I gave it back to the kitchen, and I was just like, yo, can you remake these? These are all the customizations. And I verified it with the customer to make sure that everything that I was giving to the kitchen was correct. The kitchen gave it back to me, I gave it back, and he says, it's still wrong. So I was just like, okay, that's weird, because I read all the customizations out to kitchen and they were everything you told me to do, so I was a bit confused. But now that he's gotten his order wrong for the second time, he's getting furious. He's raising his tone, and I was just keeping it cool. I was just like, I'm not gonna let this guy get to me. I'm just gonna redo his order and, you know, move on to the next customer. But he was persistent with me. He was just like, this is ridiculous. I need to speak to your manager, all this stuff. And I could understand because, like, it's McDonald's. They should be able to get your order right. But he was going over the top. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just get the kitchen to fix your order. I'll see what my manager can do. Like, I was offering everything I could to this guy. And then he had the nerve to grab the burger out of my hand, and he walked behind the counter where he's not supposed to be, went into the kitchen and was telling them how to make the burger. That is unacceptable because you already know you're not supposed to be back there. So that's not fair. And I don't care how many times you got your order wrong, you cannot be coming behind the counter. That's employee area. Like, are you good? Okay, so next story. When I worked at McDonald's, I worked a lot of drive-through shifts, and a lot of the people at my work preferred not to do drive-through because the customers tend to be a lot more ruder in the drive-through than they are at the main counter, just because they're more in a rush. They're like ordering like 1-2 things so they can get out really quick because they're on their way to work or whatever. So it was about like 6 in the evening, and that's typically a pretty busy time for McDonald's because it's around dinner time and people are coming back from work, so the drive-through is pretty busy. And 60% of McDonald's earnings comes through the drive-through, at least at my location. So the drive-through was pretty much always pretty busy. There was a guy who came through and he ordered, I'm not even over exaggerating, like $70 worth of food, and he was in the car by himself, so I would assume that he's buying food for his family. Now, first of all, the drive-through is not for those types of orders. If you're gonna make a big order, just come into the actual restaurant, because there's a whole line of people behind you who are just gonna buy one coffee, one burger, all little things, but you're just taking up the whole line and no one can pass you. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna take this guy's order. So he orders $70 worth of food, and he wants to customize literally everything again. So I'm just like, okay, put down all these customizations. Then I was just like, okay, is that everything? And then he goes, oh, and I also need 2 cookies. And at this McDonald's, once we ran out of like any bakery stuff, we did not make any more. So we only had one cookie and he wanted two. So I'm just like, I can give you a cookie, but we also have muffins because I don't have two cookies. And the guy goes, oh. And this guy canceled the entire order. And I was just like, so you're gonna cancel the entire order just because we don't have two cookies? And the kitchen was already making all this stuff, so it was already a big waste of food. And I was just like, thanks for that. It's not really something to complain about. I mean, people want what they want, and I'm assuming he went to another McDonald's to do his order, but I was just like, whatever. This woman came through the drive-thru, and she came up to the pay window, and I was just like, oh, so your total is gonna be $27. And she's like, okay. And then she pulls out her wallet. Now, the first thing that really annoyed me is that the drive-thru was really busy. So if you're gonna come through the drive-thru and order something and then wait, you should have your money ready to be paid when you get to the first window to pay, so we can speed up the process. But they just want to be difficult. So she pulls out her wallet and she's just pulling out dimes, nickels, quarters. Like, the quarter was the biggest like currency she gave me, which really made me annoyed, right? There's people honking and there's people waiting just because she wants to get rid of her change. So she gave me all the change and I started counting it out. And I was just like, miss, you're $2 short. She goes,
no, I'm not.
And I'm just like, okay, well, here, let me count it out for you. And she goes,
no, I gave you $27.
No.
I'm just like, you're short $2. And she's continues to insist, whatever. So I had to keep arguing with her so my cash register would not be unbalanced. And she ended up giving me the $2 after. But I shouldn't have to argue with you. If your payment's wrong, just give me the extra. Like, you already knew you were coming here and you have to pay money. Food is not free. Like, I don't really understand these people. So now getting into why I actually quit. I think maybe like a month before I actually quit, I was considering it, and I didn't want to quit because I didn't have another source of money coming. So I was just like, you know what, maybe I should just keep it until I find another job. But there was multiple things that happened that just pushed me to quit without even finding another job. I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 shifts before I actually quit, and I came to work half an hour early because I couldn't get a ride any later. So I walk in and the restaurant is chaos. The manager's just like, hurry up. And I'm just like, you're gonna tell me to hurry up and I'm early for my shift? Like, who do you think you are? But I was a nice employee, so I put on my uniform and I came up. I found out that 4 people had called in sick. There was only 2 people in the kitchen and 2 people in the main area, and they told me that I was gonna do the drive-thru by myself. Drive-thru consists of first window, taking orders and collecting money, and then second window, giving them the order. And that can be very stressful when the drive-thru line is going all the way around the restaurant and people are still waiting on their orders. So that completely stressed me out, like completely. I was trying to do the best as taking orders, and then people saying their order's wrong and have to like be doing all this stuff. Ice cream machine is broken. Big surprise. And a bunch of things aren't working. The floor is a complete mess and it's absolute chaos. Now, obviously I know this is not the manager's fault, but like, you need to do something about this. You can't be stressing out your employees because it's gonna have an effect on their customer service. At least maybe call some people. They didn't bother to call anybody, and I got so stressed out that I got cold sores, and that's something that happens to me when I get stressed or if I'm in the cold a lot. There are like these bumps that will come up. I'll actually show you a picture. Like, so that completely stressed me out, and I just wanted to quit after, especially because they didn't thank me for everything that I did after. You know when you go through a drive-thru and the person tells you, oh, you need to park here and we'll bring you your food because it's taking a bit long. So I would do that a bunch of times to help the drive-thru keep moving, but people decided to drive and park wherever they wanted. Like, no, I told you to go over there where the sign is, and you want to go halfway across the parking lot. I'm not going to chase you for it. So I just leave it and then let them come back and complain, and I would just not deal with them. Just like, your food is there. I told you to go there. You don't listen. I'm not walking out in the cold to give you your food. Like, I'm not your servant. The overall management of the restaurant was not good. They would like call me to tell me to come in earlier and then make me stay, and they'd like guilt trip me into staying, which I always ended up staying anyways. But like, that's really not fair to me, especially if I said I have to go and you're still gonna convince me to stay. Like, I can't really do that. Right before I quit, they would literally text me and say, hey, can you please come to your shift today? Because people, after they quit, they just would stop coming and not give their like 2 weeks notice. So they'd be like, no, I'm not coming. But I always came. I was just like, but if I'm coming, don't put me on drive-through. And guess what? I'd end up on drive-through. One thing that McDonald's needs to understand is that you need to treat your employees with respect, or else they're not going to want to do anything for you. They're going to call in sick when they feel like it, and they're just not going to want to do anything for you. So at my new job, they actually treat you with respect. They actually care about you. They talk to you, and that's why I do favors for them. If they ask me to stay later, I'll stay later. If they want me to come early, I'll come early, because they actually treat you like a human and they're actually decent, which is something McDonald's needs to learn. But anyways, McDonald's was a good place to start. It really depends on which one you work on. Some are going to be more organized than others. I worked there for a whole year, and that's like a lot, and I've had 3 other jobs since then. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, I definitely suggest McDonald's, but it's really going to test your patience and not a long-term thing. Just work there and get the experience and try to move on when you can, especially because McDonald's hires at 15 instead of 16, so that gives you another option if you're younger and you can't really apply for other jobs. So I hope you enjoyed that little rant about McDonald's. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe, comment something nice, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, Yammers.